Thank you and good morning. We'll forego the forward-looking statement here. I'm going to switch gears and we'll talk about copper. Lots to talk about energy this morning. You can't produce energy, use energy, or transmit energy without copper in the mix every step of the way. Lots of talk about the electric vehicle adaptation. Internal combustion engine is 20th century technology. We're moving on to the 21st century autonomous electric vehicles. Electric vehicles take 2 to 3 times more copper in them, and of course they're electric, so somebody needs to produce the energy to make them go. Paris climate change, changing coal-fired power plants into alternative forms of energy. That transition is going to require probably on average 5 times more copper. Everything green, everything high-tech requires more copper. So we call it the green metal of the future. Demand side looks very positive, and this is demand above the normal demand, what I'm talking about here. And this is a really good place for investors to start getting into. The average mine reserve on the supply side now, we'll switch over. On the supply side, average mine grade, head mine grade was about 1% a number of years ago, about 10 years ago. Now it's about 0.5%. So when the head grade's half as much, that same mine actually produces half as much metal. There's an incentive price of copper to bring more metal on board, but that's about $3.50, so higher than the current price. So supply disruptions are more frequent than they have been due to a whole variety of reasons. Water is a big reason. There's competition for water sources, particularly in Chile. Nationalization seems to be coming back in a strong sense, with Indonesia seizing a big part of Grasberg, El Dorado having its problems in Greece, and Barrick in Tanzania, etc. Exploration has not been terribly successful over the last number of years. In the previous 5 years, when there was lots of money going into the sector, there wasn't a lot of new success. And the reason basically being that the low-hanging fruit has been found and mined, and new mines will be deeper, be harder to find, and in more remote locations and take longer to develop. So that's creating the perfect storm for copper. And that's what we're seeing in this price of copper chart here. Post the Great Recession in 2008, we had a huge amount of money flow into all sectors, including the mining sector, and we built a few too many copper mines, resulting in a oversupply situation that for the last 6 years has kind of wound itself down. Copper bottomed out at $2, and now we're seeing copper move back up towards the $3 mark. Our belief is that copper is going to trade between $3 and $4, which is a very healthy price to make good money at, and we'll show you what we're focused on here. So why Trilogy? Well, we have a lot of copper, 8 billion pounds of copper, 3 billion pounds of zinc, and over 1 million ounces of gold equivalent. It's focused in 2 projects. The most advanced is our Arctic project, which is at a pre-feasibility stage, a 5% copper equivalent open pit mine. This will be the highest grade open pit copper mine in the world, bar none. Our second project is about 20 miles away. It's an exploration project called Bornite. We already have 6 billion pounds of copper there, but we're still exploring, and it's getting bigger. It's a district play, so we own the lion's share of an entire district. We're in Alaska, a safe rule of law jurisdiction that understands mining. It's the second most important industry in the state. We have 3 partnerships. The first and most important is a partnership with Alaska Native Corporation. This is a business arrangement. We have basically combined our land interests in the Ambler Mining District. This Native corporation understands mining very well. It owns the Red Dog mine, largest zinc mine in the world. It's been operating for 30 years. So they understand that mining has been good for them as a financial reward. Our second partnership is with the state of Alaska. A group called the Alaska Industrial Development Export Authority, or ADA for short, is building road infrastructure for us. This road is a 200-mile road. It'll connect the Ambler Mining District to the pipeline road. It's called the Dalton Highway. That then connects us to the rail in Fairbanks, Alaska Railroad. That'll take us down south to year-round ports. There's actually 4 of them down there, year-round ports down in south central Alaska for export of copper, lead, and zinc concentrates that we'll be producing. The road the road is in the permitting process. They're just finishing up the scoping part of the permitting, and we'll be entering the draft EIS and then final EIS within a year or two. So that really connects this project to the infrastructure of the state. The final partnership is with South 32. This is a large mining company spun out of BHP about 3 or 4 years ago. They produce just about everything on the planet except copper, and so their investment in us is an investment in copper in the United States, or in North America. Basically, the outline of the terms of the deal are they invest $30 million over 3 years as an option payment, $10 million a year, at the end of which they can acquire up to a 50% interest in the project by contributing a minimum of $150 million. So it's a very good deal for us. Just briefly on our share capitalization, 105 million shares outstanding, mostly institutionally held. You can see the list of our top 6 shareholders there. It's a blue chip list of shareholders, mostly New York based. We've got $10 million in cash, $4.5 million in marketable securities, and no debt. Our share price performance this year has been fantastic. It really kind of keyed off of the investment from South 32. I don't think anybody was really paying too much attention to us until South 32 did the deal with us, and they said, "Oh, geez, why is this big company taking this interest in Trilogy?" And then second catalyst there is really interest in the copper price taking off from about $2 up towards $3, and that's been our story this year. Now, location, we're up in northwestern Alaska. I mentioned the Red Dog Mine. You can see it up in the northwest part of the borough there. Largest zinc mine in the world. So this area of Alaska understands mining and is based on mining. It pays the borough taxes. The school district is financed from the mine. And of course, NANA shareholders have made over $1 billion off of the royalty from the Red Dog Mine. So this area understands mining. We're in the eastern part of the borough there. This is the joint area of interest. When we did our deal with NANA, we basically consolidated our mineral interests in the district. It's over 100 kilometers long, about 25, 30 miles wide. That's a polymetallic belt of copper, lead, zinc, gold deposits there, with Arctic smack in the middle of that VMS belt. Here's a view of Arctic. It sits on the side of a hill. It's a series of massive sulfide lenses. What's extraordinary about it is the grade. 40 million tons of 3% copper, 4% zinc, plus the precious metals. We did a PEA in 2013. We'll be updating this with the pre-feasibility study planned for release in Q1 of 2018. We'll envision a 10,000 ton a day operation, which is a pretty small, modest size mine, but we'll be producing a lot of metal, 125 million pounds of copper, 150 million pounds of zinc, 30,000 ounces of gold, and 2.5 million ounces of silver. Very low cash costs, obviously, when you're taking the credits for the other metals, at 62 cents a pound. Excuse me. And all-in cash cost is $1.26. So at a $3 copper price, you have over $200 million of free cash flow. That's an extraordinary asset. Low capital costs on a capital intensity basis, about half of the industry average. The second project, Bornite's, about 30 kilometers to the south. We first started exploring this in 2011 and outlined 125 million tons of 1%. The next year, another 58 million tons of 3% underground. And then in 2013, we drilled 5 holes to connect the 2 zones and demonstrate that it's wide open to the north. That's why we brought South 32 in as a funding partner. So this year we spent $10 million of theirs, expanding that zone out to the north and east. We've had a number of good intersections. We'll be releasing additional results next week. And these are big step outs. We have basically doubled the size of the footprint of the deposit. I'll stop there, but stop by our booth. We've got lots to go over, and we'll look forward to catching up with you here. We'll be here all week, actually. Thanks.